What's up, guys? Welcome back to another class preview. This time we're going to be going over the Brewmaster monk and kind of seeing all the differences that has happened since Warlords of Draenor into um, the Legion Alpha, and kind of seeing how it's going to play in Legion. Hopefully it's going to be a good spec. I do love the look of the artifact weapon, how it dangles in front of you. So that's mostly my opinion of um, the artifact weapon. It is very cool. So I do have high hopes for the spec. Um, Graphically biased, if you may say. But first off, we're going to go over the spellbook, then look over the talents, then end up looking out for our artifact weapon. And let's get into it. Starting off, we do have Blackout Strike. It's a guess with a 3-second cooldown. Um, Now this strikes with a blast of chi energy, dealing 72,000 physical damage. Now this is very bland, just as is. It does have a nice cool effect. It does have a 3-minute cooldown, but I do actually feel like I'm playing a monk just because of the new animations. But anyways, moving on, we do have Breath of Fire as a 15-second cooldown. Breathe fire on the targets in front of you, causing 39,000 fire damage. Targets affected by Keg Smash will also burn for additional 2,000 or 23,000 fire damage over 8 seconds. So obviously you would want Keg Smash on this, just to trigger this to give you some extra damage. We do have Crackling Jade Lightning as a channeled ability. You can do this from 40 yards away. Channel Jade Lightning, causing 156,000 H damage over 3.7 seconds to the target, and sometimes knocking back melee attackers. Mostly just a pull, I would say. Next up, we do have Detox. Does cost 20 energy with an 8-second cooldown. It removes all poison and disease effects from your target, so tanks are able to, some tanks are able to help out with his spells. Also have a Fuse. It costs 30 energy with a 1.37-second cast. A fast and efficient heal, healing the target for 89,000, just like so. Not the best heal, but still a heal nonetheless. Flaming Keg is our artifact weapon ability. We'll go over it later. We do have Fortifying Brew. It does have a 5-minute cooldown. This is our main defensive cooldown. Does do quite a bit, especially when going through the artifact weapon and seeing all that it does with this. This is going to be a massive cooldown. I think right now it does too much with all the artifact powers. But it basically turns your skin into stone for 15 seconds, increases your current and maximum health by 20%, increasing the damage you delay with stagger by additional 20%, reducing all damage you also take by 20% as well. So this is a lot for a defensive cooldown right now, but could be a very useful one, especially if we have a boss that is going to do a bunch of melee damage. So maybe having a Brewmaster in our group would be very useful. Next up, we do have Iron Skin Brew. Instant cast, 19-second recharge with 3 charges. Increase the damage you delay with stagger by additional 40% for 7.5 seconds. Shares a charge with Purifying Brew, which we'll go over later. We also have Keg Smash. Costs 40 energy with a 7-second cooldown. Smash a keg of brew on the target, dealing 133,000 damage to all enemies within 8 yards, and reducing their movement speed by 50% for 15 seconds. Now this does reduce the remaining cooldown on Iron Skin Brew and Purifying Brew by 4 seconds, since they do share that same kind of recharge time. Next up, we do have Paralysis. It does cost 20 energy with a 15-second cooldown. Incapacitate the target for 1 minute. It does have a limit of 1. Damage will cancel this effect, so just be wary of where you put your CC. We do have our Provoke, just like always. It does have an 8-second cooldown. Taunts the target, increasing their movement speed, obviously running towards you. Therefore, they can get to you faster, and you don't really have to worry about them getting attacked by other melee or ranged when they're coming towards you. So they should be able to get to you pretty quick. Next up, we do have Purifying Brew. Does share that same cooldown with our Iron Skin Brew. Has a 19-second recharge time. Clears 50% of the damage delayed with Stagger. That shares the same charges with Iron Skin Brew. Now Stagger is relatively similar. Nothing new there, but we'll kind of go over it a little bit later. We have Resuscitate. Basic res. Nothing new. We do have Roll. You roll short distance. Blah blah blah. Spearhand Strike. Our basic interrupt with a 15-second cooldown. Interrupts any spell to be cast from that school of magic for 4 seconds. Next up is Tiger Palm. Does cost 25 energy. Attack with the palm of your hand, dealing 15,000 damage. And does reduce the remaining cooldown of your Iron Skin Brew / Purifying Brew for 1 second. So this is just going to be mostly your filler, but also helps out quite a bit just because it reduces the cooldowns of those Iron Skin Brew and Purifying Brews. Still have Transcendence, a 10-second cooldown, split your body and spirit, leaving your spirit behind for 15 minutes. Using Transcendence Transfer to swap locations with your spirit. Now this just swaps your body and spirit with a 25-second cooldown. We do also have Zen Meditation, channel ability for 5-minute cooldown. Reduces all damage taken by 60% for 8 seconds. Being hit by a melee attack will cancel this effect. Very nice cooldown, especially if we have raid AoE damage coming towards us. If say our other tank is tanking at the moment, popping this when there's about to be a huge damage will help out your healers quite a bit. We do have Zen Pilgrimage, travels you to your class hall, nothing new. Now moving on to our passives. Now some of these are really interesting, such as Celestial Fortitude. You have a chance equal to your critical strike chance to duplicate all healing you receive. Now this is going to be the make or break for Brewmasters, in my opinion, because doubling the healing that you're going to receive is ridiculous. Obviously you're going to want to stack crit, help out you quite a bit, no rhyme intended, but it is a very strong passive and will help Brewmasters to stay in the game. As of right now, they did look a little weak, but with this talent or with this passive, you will be able to kind of help out a lot more. Next up, Gift of the Ox, another passive. When you take damage, you have a chance to summon a healing sphere, visible only to you. Moving through this healing sphere heals you for 183,000. The lower your current health is, the greater the chance to summon the healing sphere. So, obviously, gathering these spheres up will help yourself sustain, but also just kind of allow you to take pressure off your healers so they're not wasting that much mana. And it's nice because it's just a passive, so it's just constantly there. Now our mastery is Elusive Brawler. Each time you are hit by a melee attack, you gain a stacking 16 increased dodge chance until your next successful dodge. This also increased our attack power by 16%. So basically, against melee, um, or even a lot of raid monsters, this is going to be overpowered. Each time I'm hit, gives me a 16% chance to dodge, and stacking up until I dodge. So the more melee attacks I take, the more dodge chance I'm going to have. Proccing this quite a bit. So, and this is mastery, so it does stack up. So that's going to be pretty nice. I don't see the overall benefit of Brewmasters against spell damage, but I guess you can do that off of stagger as well. So stagger, you shrug off attacks, delaying 35% of the physical damage, instead taking it over 10 seconds. This affects magical attacks at half the effectiveness. So instead of 35, it would be what, 17.5. But still helps out quite a bit because of Purifying Brew. Since you're able to clear your stagger, obviously wanting to put out a bunch of keg smashes and also target palms, just so you can have these up quite a bit, increasing your stagger and also clearing your stagger. That's going to be our main active mitigation, and really a nice way to reduce your damage. Our spell bar is pretty empty, so it's kind of needed. Moving on to the talents. The first one, we do have Chi Burst, 30-second cooldown. Hurls a torrent of Chi energy up to 40 yards, dealing 61,000 nature damage to all enemies, and 61,000 healing to the monk and its allies in its path. Casting Chi Burst does not prevent avoiding attacks. You will still have your same dodge, same everything else while you're casting this. Only has a 1-second cast, so it's pretty quick. Next up is Eye of the Tiger. And it's a passive. Tiger Palm also applies Eye of the Tiger, dealing 22,000 nature damage to the enemy, and does 22,000 healing to the monk over 8 seconds, which is nice just because it is a base heal. Gives you nice little damage buff and also some nice healing overall. Next up is Chi Wave, 15-second cooldown. A wave of Chi energy flows through friends and foes, dealing 11,000 nature damage or 11,000 healing. Bounces up to 7 times between targets within 25 yards. This is nice because you can do some healing mostly on our melees, but does kind of help out where Eye of the Tiger is more selfish. But you're a tank anyways, you're supposed to be trying to stay alive the best. Next up, we do have Chi Torpedo. This does replace our roll. Torpedoes in front of you for a long distance increases your movement speed by 30% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 2 times. So, does have a long distance, then gives you some movement speed. So obviously you want to try to use the most of this movement speed, then use it again, getting more movement speed. And you should be able to get this off. Nope, not quite, but pretty close. Moving on to Tiger's Lust. 30-second cooldown. Increase a friendly's target's movement speed by 70% for 6 seconds, and removes all roots and snares. This is very good if a single person has to run away from something, or say Iron Reaver fight. You gotta drop the bombs, or drop the, get away from everyone. before you're hit with that fire blast. Very nice because you can cast it on, say, your off tank is a um, any other tank and doesn't have a movement speed cooldown up for them. You can have this ready for them as well. So we also have Celerity. It's a passive, reduces the cooldown of roll by 5 seconds and increases its maximum number of charges by 1, therefore allowing 3 charges and quite a bit reduced roll time, or cooldown time. Now, on our 45 level talents, we do have Light Brewing as our first passive. Reduces the cooldown of Iron Skin and Iron Skin Brew and Purifying Brew by 3 seconds, and increases their maximum number of charges by 1, so therefore making them 4 with a lower recharge time. This is a very powerful tool, especially since we're going to be working off of our stagger quite a bit. Next up is Black Ox Brew. 1 minute cooldown. Chug some Black Ox Brew, which instantly refills your energy and your Iron Skin Brew and Purifying Brew charges. Pretty nice, especially if we have a section of fight that we do need to have around 6 stacks for. 3 each, obviously increasing your stagger damage and clearing it once it becomes too high. Next on this list is Secret Ingredients. It's a passive. Your Tiger Palm has a 50% chance to reset the remaining cooldown of Keg Smash. Now this is pretty nice since you do reset your cooldown of Iron Skin Brew and Purifying Brew a lot faster. Since it is 50%, say I pop all these, pop Keg Smash, pop that, pop Keg Smash again, and you're able to just keep popping these as long as you have enough energy. So it does reduce it by quite a bit, but does make it a quite energy needed talent. Next off, we do have Ring of Peace. Does a 45-second cooldown. Form a ring of peace around the friendly target for 8 seconds. Enemies in the ring that use harmful spells or abilities will be knocked out of the ring. This is mostly useful for PvP, but I don't see how this would be entirely useful in raiding. I mean, maybe putting this on a ranged person or something like that, just to give you a few extra seconds and picking up ads. But who knows? I don't really feel this fits in with Brewmasters. Next is Summon Black Ox Statue. It's a 10-second cooldown. Summons a Black Ox Statue at the target location for 15 minutes. Pulsing threat to all enemies within 30 yards. You may cast Provoke on the statue to taunt all enemies near the statue. That's a really good ability, mostly because helps you pick out a bunch of ads if you do have this. Now here, you can just taunt the statue itself, then anything around the statue will come to you. So making this a very handy ad pickup. Next up, we do have Leg Sweep. Does have a 45-second cooldown. Knocks down all enemies within 5 yards and stunning them for 5 seconds. A very nice stun, but I would say Black Ox Statue for sure is the way to go, especially for picking up ads. Next up, we do have Healing Elixir. It's a 30-second recharge. Drinking a Healing Elixir heals you for 15% of your max health. Healing Elixir will automatically trigger if you drop below 35% health, and a charge is available. So you have to have this available. It does have 2 charges at 30-second recharge. So, very nice, because it's just a nice heal. Next up is Diffuse Magic. It's a 2-minute cooldown. Reduces magic damage you take by 60% for 6 seconds. And transfers all current active harmful magical effects on you back to the original caster if possible. So it clears your harmful spells, if not giving you some damage output if it does have the ability to put it back on the caster. Next we have Dampen Harm. Another 2-minute cooldown. Reduces all damage you take by 30% from the next 3 attacks that damage you for 15% more of your max health. This is castable while stunned, which makes this kind of useful, especially in PvP, but I mean, it is from just basic attacks, so it's not overall the best in my opinion. I do like healing elixirs just because you can choose when to heal yourself. Next up, we do have Rushing Jade Wind. It's a 5.5-second cooldown. Summons a whirling tornado around you, causing 120,000 damage over 5.5 seconds within to all enemies within 8 yards. Very nice AoE pickup. Looks like so. You can just hit it once and it will automatically stay on you. Then you can have it up at all times. Plus it's a very cool animation. Next up we do have Invoke Nuzao, the Black Ox. 3-minute cooldown. Summons a effigy of Nuzao, the Black Ox, for 45 seconds. Nuzao attacks your primary target and taunts it. This could be very useful as long as he has enough health to survive. Sometimes when they do add these abilities in, they die pretty quickly, but hopefully that is not the case. We'll put this on and kind of test it out. But next we do have Special Delivery. Drinking Iron Skin or Purifying Brew has a 30% chance to toss a keg high into the air. That lands on a nearby after 3 seconds, dealing 133,000 damage to all enemies within 8 yards, reducing their movement speed by 50% for 15 seconds. Very nice since you're going to be pushing these brews quite a bit. Let's try this out. Does have the same amount of health as me. Charges the enemy and has a taunt. So, could be a very useful cooldown. If anything, it does will kind of help relieve some of the pressure, especially in dungeons when you only have one tank. But anyways, on to the level 100 talents, we do have Elusive Dance. It's a passive. Purifying Brew also grants up to 15% dodge for 6 seconds based on the level of stagger damage purified. So the more damage we do purify from stagger, the better chance we'll get to have that 15% dodge. So just casting it with no stagger, no, can't even do that. So this does kind of help out our dodge. Overall, not the best dodge chance, but decent enough. Next up, we do have Fortified Mind. It's a passive. Keg Smash and Tiger's Palm will also reduce the cooldown of Fortifying Brew, which is our main cooldown. Since this is a 5-minute cooldown, it is very nice to reduce this, since it does reduce it by 4 seconds from Keg Smash and 1 second from Tiger's Palm, reducing this probably to around I could go Rushing Jade Wind. But anyways, it's a pretty low cooldown system, but we do have to figure in our artifact weapon. Fuzan, the Wanderer's Companion. Now we do have Flaming Keg, decent amount. I wish we did have more AoE capabilities, but I guess I could go Rushing Jade Wind. But anyways, it's a pretty low cooldown system, but we do have to figure in our artifact weapon. Fuzan, the Wanderer's Companion. Now we do have Flaming Keg as our main ability that we do get from it. It does have a 1.25 minute cooldown. It's a 40-yard range instant cast. Hurls a flaming keg at the target's location, dealing 55,000 fire damage to the target and nearby enemies. Now, honestly, first glance at this, I'm just like, what? How does this help me tank? It could be very good at picking up ads. Just throw this out there, pick up a bunch of ads, not really have to worry about it. Should generate quite a bit of threat since it does a decent amount of damage. What I'd like to see is something that kind of affects maybe our brews, but hopefully here soon it will kind of help out that. I don't see the overall use of this. There's nothing here that really kind of affects it. Yep. Nothing. So I'm a little disappointed with that. It's nice that you have a flaming keg, but it doesn't really do much. I mean, honestly, it does a decent amount of damage, but who knows? But we do have some very nice passives as well in here, such as Fortification. Activating Fortify Brew grants you 30% dodge for 21 seconds. Now, this makes this even more amazing cooldown because you get more dodge chance. Now, we also have Brew Stash, which activating Fortifying Brew, which is our main cooldown, or Purifying Brew, or Iron Skin Brew, which are our active mitigations. Grants you 15% dodge for 2.5 seconds. Now, both of these do stack when you cast Fortifying Brew. You do get the 30% dodge, and also the 15% giving you 45% dodge. One's only for a few seconds though, and the other one lasts more than the full duration. But last but not least, we have Dragon's Fire Brew. It's a passive. Breathe fire surrounds you with flame, burning enemies for 47,000 fire damage over 8 seconds and reducing all the damage you take by 8%. This is a nice damage reduction, especially since you should be able to keep it up at all times with a little delay, I guess. But honestly, I don't see the point of Blackout Strike. Hopefully they incorporate that a little bit more. Doesn't reduce anything else. But overall, I do love the animations. You do feel more of like a Brewmaster. I was very disappointed with the artifact weapon ability. Just throws a keg, does damage. Yeah, I'm not that impressed with that. Hopefully they do change that up quite a bit. They do have all the basics of being a Brewmaster. I mean, this is still a decently new class slash spec, so they didn't have to do much changing on it. I do think it still needs a little work. Honestly, I think it has less buttons than most tanks, and tanks right now have less buttons in general. Probably because they're more focused on tanking everything, but it's kind of a little depressing, actually. Still have the good feel of a Brewmaster, though. I just wish it was a little bit more, especially since the artifact weapon is pretty cool and does fit in. Um, but I guess only time will tell if they do change it. Um, hopefully they do make some drastic changes in this spec. It will be very good with Fortifying Brew taking a bunch of damage, especially working with this passive. I would take this over anything else just because of all the stuff through the artifact weapon, increasing it by a lot. So um, I really do like the casting animations. Now, since you do have your staff on your back, you do really feel like Chen. But anyways, if we did like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Plenty more to come still. If we do have any questions about this video or any previous or future videos, please put them in the comment box below. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you guys next time.